calling all leaf peepers and fall foliage lovers, or really anyone who likes to go for a beautiful drive. We're breaking down some scenic drive route options around Great Falls for a beautiful day trip. That's coming up on this episode of We're No Damn Experts.
Best damn podcast, the best damn town. You want to get up, get ready to get down. With its big wide sky and the wild river Tame. If you want to go, we can take you there to Great Falls, Montana.
Welcome to the greatest damn town in Montana, Great Falls. I'm Rebecca Ingham.
And I'm Shannon Newth.
And together, we're no damn experts. Happy Friday, folks.
Happy Friday. Everyone's been in a interesting / good mood today, it seems.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I haven't seen anything contradictory.
No.
Guests walking in haven't been odd. I mean, it started off a little rough this week.
Yes.
And then beautiful weather, fall.
Yeah.
Fall-like feelings out there.
It really is. I was talking to somebody, I was downtown earlier, and I was chatting with someone like, oh, it's starting to feel like fall. And I was like, yeah, I was recording something down here, and I thought to myself, I should have a jacket handy. I'm like, oh boy, we're getting to that time.
Yeah. Gotta always have one close by.
Mm-hmm. It's that time.
In honor of fall, I thought maybe we would discuss places you could drive around this area to see the beautiful fall landscapes. Or, as some people say, the leaf peepers.
Leaf peepers.
Or just a fall foliage tour. Fall colors, you know,
They
that
usually
time
go
of
with
year.
foliage. Yeah. But yeah, leaf peepers, it's a real group of people.
Sweater weather and pumpkin drinking.
I have my iced pumpkin spice latte from Electric City. It's Heidi's, one of the owners.
Yeah.
Her like homemade, house-made blend. So
Yeah. And if you know, everyone knows I may or may not be true on this. I think they make it with real pumpkin.
I would think so from there.
So it's like pureed
I mean, it
pumpkin.
tastes very like
Pumpkin-y.
spice. Yeah. And
Yeah.
spice. Yeah.
They also have a really good chai down there.
They do. Our newest team member, Liz, that's her. I was asking her earlier this week. I was like, are you coffee drink? What's your go-to? And she's a chai. And I asked, where's your favorite? And that was one of them. So,
Yeah. That's handcrafted down there.
Her other one, she said, was Crooked Tree, which is also a place they make their own house-made pumpkin spice too. And I don't know if I've shared this on here before. I go to Crooked Tree and you can take home their syrups with you. And I do that all the time. I go get refills and make it at home with my coffee and things.
So that's my go-to gift for people. Like when I'm traveling and
idea.
I need a gift to give someone who's hosting me or something like that, I usually do Morning Light coffee, Charlie Russell roast, and Crooked Tree syrups.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, I'm a really nice guest.
That really is a nice gift. And one, folks, that you can take home with you too, if you want a taste of Great Falls to take with you.
Yeah, you know, the only thing that's missing is some ribeye steaks from Central After Meats.
So bring your cooler with you. We're going to send you
buy
home
one
with
here.
stuff. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, true. We have lots of places for those. Yeah.
So I thought, let's talk about scenic drives. We covered some of the route options to Glacier National Park and kind of alluded to some of the scenic drive options that are offshoots of that. We're going to dig in a little bit further today.
Go different directions.
Here's the thing. In Great Falls, you have a base camp to dang near anything you need, but we have the most diverse landscape in the entire state of Montana.
That's true.
So to the west of us, just mountains. You get to the west and it's mountains and then some more mountains. And then you're just constantly in the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
To the east of us, you know, where all the fine folk hail from. Just a lot of plains.
As far as the eye can see.
Yeah. It's really just a lot of eastern plains. There's a little bit of that badlands feel to it in some areas, some rolling hills. But in general, a lot of flat, a lot of long distances with not a lot of encumbrance to your views.
You really understand why it's called Big Sky Country.
Yes.
There.
It's ideal there. And here in Great Falls, you got a mix of everything. You've
really
got
do.
a lot of different mountains. You have river valleys. You have buttes, bluffs, and eggland. You have plains. You have valleys everywhere. And really, we've curated some scenic drives that'll just take you through all the variety.
All of those. Yeah.
So it's like getting every emotion in a fall drive.
That's a good way to put it.
And folks, if you want to follow along at home, here's some fun. Here's a fun tip. We're going to be talking about these scenic drives. We promote them not just on the podcast, but they're in our Basecamp magazine. So if you want to go to our website, visit greatfallsmontana.org, pull up the visitor magazine. You're going to be looking at pages 32 and 33 as reference.
You could also do what I'm doing, which if you go to our website and just search scenic drives, it'll pull up maps of what we're talking about from the visitor guide as well.
Yeah. Again, you're going to need an accompaniment, which is the state highway map, because
get some perspective on it.
Yeah, it's not super easy to design routes using roads and then also make it pretty to see and easy to understand.
Yeah. This is good. How it's presented in the guide and the website is a good way to do it because it gives you the exact route and then you overlay that on the map. So you get the surrounding things you need to know. Yeah. Do you have a favorite of the ones on here?
Yeah, I was just trying to think if I did have a favorite. And I don't think I
picked
do.
One.
Oh, which one's your favorite?
I think of the ones that, I didn't see that one on this one. I'm going to say my favorite on here is the Cascade Loop because I love the drive in the canyon south of Great Falls that goes through Cascade and Craig. That's just stunning.
Yeah.
Any time of year. Beautiful. And then the Gibson Dam area, I really like that area as well. There's some really, if you like off-roading stuff or going on an adventure, that area is a great place to do that. So I think that's, I think that's my favorite route on here.
Yeah, so the Cascade Loop, and here's the thing. All of our scenic drives start and end in Great Falls.
Yeah, weird.
Shouldn't be a big surprise after this many episodes, people, because our entire goal is to get you to our town to enjoy our unique stuff here and to spend a night here.
That's right.
We've always been pretty straightforward on that.
Not hiding that, yeah.
We're self-serving.
Right.
That's why we started a podcast.
And hopefully you're interested in it because that's why you're listening.
So the Cascade Loop, you head east. Nope, that is incorrect. You head west out of Great Falls.
Yeah.
Going
south.
Yep. I would probably do it east. Nope.
West. You don't go north or east on this one. I mean, you go north a little bit, but not yet.
My recommendation is to go west and then south.
Okay.
And then north.
Okay.
And so it's a little bit of a triangle. And this is the only route that we do offer that is got some gravel roads in it. Here's why. You know, a lot of people advised me, don't put gravel roads on there. No, I'm sorry. Montana is known for back roads, and those back roads are usually gravel. So here's the thing. Make sure your vehicle can travel on gravel, which means you got to have some at least 8-ply tires, 6-ply tires.
I really know nothing about tire plies, so I have no idea.
And a little bit of clearance. So Corvettes, nope.
Some of the other routes.
Yep. Corvettes are fine on the other routes. Cascade Loop is not. The other option is don't go up on the gravel road.
Don't go to the gravel part. Yeah, you can get around
But
that.
I think you're really missing some opportunities there. So you head out west of Great Falls, taking Highway 200 through Vaughan, Sun River, Fort Shaw, Sims. And then in Sims, you had a little bit divergent new road to the north to Augusta. And then once you get to Augusta, you're going to head out of Augusta into the Rocky Mountains and then take a little tour around there, back into Augusta, and then down south to Wolf Creek. I think from Bowman's Corner to Wolf Creek is my favorite portion of that drive because you don't see a lot of people around.
I don't know if I've ever gone that way. I think that's the part of the loop, this loop I've never been on.
It's really cool. I got stuck in a thunderstorm there on the bike one time. It was really great. And what was really interesting, it was right near this school. I think
like
it was
an operating school or an old schoolhouse?
Old schoolhouse.
Okay.
Kind of just in the middle of nowhere, which isn't too random for Montana. Like it was pretty normal to just, that's the only building for 80 miles.
Right. You walk uphill both ways to it. Yeah.
But no signage, no nothing. So just be prepared to see that along the way, including some of the diverse landscape down into Wolf Creek. And then from Wolf Creek, my recommendation is frontage road all the way to Great Falls.
Yeah.
You can take the interstate if you're pressed for time.
Yeah.
The views are still good either way.
Yeah. But the frontage road is just stunning.
And you get to go over the bridge that was in the Untouchables.
The Hardy Bridge.
Hardy Creek Bridge.
Yep.
Now, the timing on that, here's the thing. Scenic drives are going to take some time. They're like a leisurely stroll in the woods.
It's a Sunday drive.
Yep. It's going to take just over 4 hours to do that if you don't really take a lot of stops.
Yeah. Now, is that that's 4 hours on the interstate. So if you took the frontage road, would you say it's longer?
Yeah, probably by a few minutes.
Yeah.
Do you think that is interstate time or do you think that's frontage road time?
Well, our loop, I feel like our loop is showing I-15.
Okay. That's probably true.
I'm going to say give yourself more time than that to explore the Gibson Dam area. You should get out for a minute in some of these places. Craig, you can get out and stop there at the bridge or whatever. And then, take the frontage road. I would say give yourself a little more time.
So the other big thing on this is 4 hours means you're going to have to either have had a big breakfast or you're going to have had like a coffee and a breakfast sandwich because you have to start your day with fuel. That's the only way you get through it. You're going to have to eat probably lunch along the way or when you get back, depending on how long you take.
Yeah.
Or get a sandwich, pack a sandwich to go and do a picnic.
And there's plenty of options from the Great Falls area in Great Falls where you can get a good lunch to go. And then I'd say Augusta and Craig are the other like bigger spots where you would be
Augusta, Craig, or Cascade. You're going to see Bowman's Corner marked as a location. There's nothing there.
So don't.
There used to be a bar there, but it was converted into a house and it looks weird. Yeah. It's a little odd.
No, so don't think that's a place to stop.
No. Nope. Yep. So you're pretty limited on options. I shouldn't say pretty limited. They're spaced out pretty good.
Yeah. There's
Augusta,
options. There's just
Wolf Creek, Craig.
Temper your expectations.
Cascade. Great Falls.
Yeah. This one says it's a total of 200 miles.
That doesn't seem like a lot of miles.
For Montana.
Yeah. That's true. Now, granted, you're coming to our state. We are the 4th largest state in the nation. So just remember, we give you miles and time.
Yeah. Usually I say time because that's what makes it's not a big city where, okay, I'm in LA and this is
rush hour traffic.
Right. 15 miles away. If that was the case here, it'd be like, oh, you'll be there in like 20 minutes. It could be like 2 hours there.
And we act like we know.
Right. Yeah, this is true.
We really have no idea.
Nope.
I would say I'm going to talk about what we call the Judith Basin Loop.
Okay.
This is heading east.
Yes, I figured you'd be well versed in this one.
Now, it's not my favorite, but what I like about the Judith Basin Loop is it was the most shocking to me the first time I did a portion of it. Like there was, sometimes you think there's not much left in life that's going to surprise me.
Especially here.
This loop surprised me.
Really?
Because there was some landscapes there that I just didn't expect.
Oh.
And then my loving current spouse says to me, "You've never seen this before?" Well, why would I have?
Right.
Like there's never...
What am I doing back here?
What would I be doing in this area? And so this one is you do head east.
Yes.
Out of Great Falls. I was looking at the route, just making sure.
Yeah.
And the way I would do it is probably Great Falls to Highwood.
That's what I was thinking.
Highwood to Fort Benton to Geraldine, Geraldine to Stanford, and then Stanford into Belt, and then over to Great Falls. Now, the other option for that one is you could go from Great Falls to Belt to Highwood.
You could, yes.
And I would almost recommend that secret sauce
Yeah.
option because I do love that drive from Belt to Highwood.
That is really pretty in there. I mean, the whole thing's pretty, but
now food options on this route are going to be in Highwood, depending on your time, because it's at the bar, which is now called something whiskey.
I've never been to that bar.
I don't know.
I've heard there's good steaks out there.
They do steak night on Friday nights. Oh, you have to have reservations.
Oh, okay.
You got food options in Fort Benton. You do have food options in Geraldine, and that is where I would recommend you stop.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, I don't know what the name of the bar is today. It used to be called PJ's. It might be called Dave and somebody's
Buster's
today. It's really hard to miss it because it is the only option in Geraldine.
Okay.
And so just go and explore.
Okay.
The town is maybe 80 people. And really great little area. They've got great burgers in that bar. That's what I eat there. And the other thing that I should mention is in small towns in Montana, the bar is the community center. So don't get weirded out if you've got kids.
Yeah.
Bring them on in.
That happens. Yep. You saw a haircut happening in a bar recently.
Yeah, I did. And
Small
that
town
one,
Montana.
again, not much surprises me.
Yeah,
that one also. I was like, oh, we can't leave the bar long enough
Bring
to
your
get
stylist in. Yeah.
our haircut done in a small town. What is it? A block away?
Right.
Anyway.
Don't be surprised if you see that.
Yeah. And also the other thing I will tell you, if you walk into a small town bar, it is going to happen to you that the entire resident population that's already in the bar is going to turn around and look at you when you walk in the door. Not because of anything other than they're expecting someone they know. So they want to be ready to greet and say hello. Depending on what bar it is, they might just say hello anyway. And you're like, okay, hi.
Don't let that deter you.
If you've listened to this podcast, now you know. Just go, hey, folks, and then head on in and
Act like
take
you own
a
the place.
seat. Yep, that's the way that works. So Geraldine's fun little stop.
Okay.
Not something you'd normally expect, but the drive from Geraldine to Stanford is where you're going to see the Arrow Creek breaks, and that's the landscape that amazes me.
Okay.
So you get a lot of diversity in that Judith Basin loop that you don't expect. You're in river, you're in mountains, you're in plains, and you're in
I don't think I've done that drive, and I wouldn't expect that. Yeah.
Oh, blew me away. Like, because you're not expecting it.
Right.
And that's why I would do it in that way.
It surprises you a little more.
Yeah.
Okay.
But now you know what something's coming up.
Well, but it'll still be a surprise. It would be a surprise for me still. Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't know what it looks like.
Yeah.
You just know it's coming. So you're waiting for it. So I was just in shock. And then because we're heading south, I'm just staring out the right side of the window, like just glued. Like I don't even know what's going on in front of me. I'm like, this is impressive. So that's the way I would do
Unexpected. Yeah.
Same distance-ish as the Cascade Loop.
Yeah. This says 201 miles. little bit less time.
This is why we don't give you miles, because if it's the same distance as the Cascade Loop, it should probably be the same time.
Yeah, but no, this one's not going to be.
Under 4 hours.
Yeah. And that's because there's not gravel roads involved in this one, and there's not like a separate frontage road for this one either.
Correct. Just highways.
Yeah, and you can go down into Belt. They have a brewery in Belt too if you want to stop there for beer or food.
Yep, they do.
Or just come back into Great Falls because that's only like 20 minutes, 15 minutes.
You've got food options and you got food and drink options and gas in Stanford.
Yes.
There is a bar in Geyser. I'm going to have to say it's a pretty neat stop. They don't have much for food all the time, I don't think. Not really certain there.
Okay.
But the neat thing about the bar in Geyser is they have men and women's restrooms, but they don't have sinks in the restroom. So you got to come out and then
to wash your hands
in the sink at the bar.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
It's got its own little cubby hole, but
so be prepared for that.
Yeah, not something you'd expect.
No.
So the restrooms are a little bit more like an outhouse.
Yeah.
It's plumbed. You can flush the toilet, but it's a small space just for the water closet there, and you jump out and wash your hands.
So don't pee on your hands because
the other thing is everyone's going to know if you wash your hands or not.
That's maybe that's not such a bad thing.
I know. Some accountability there. So, and Geyser is small. There's not much left in Rainsford.
No.
You've got a mechanic shop in Rainsford and some fuel station there.
Okay.
But holy moly, just a lot of small town Montana. And
this is really a good picture of smaller rural town, like agriculture, small towns.
Yep. What do you think you want to do next?
Let's talk about I want to talk about the Lewis and Clark Loop.
Oh, I do like this one.
This was the one that I was like, because I saw the Gates of the Mountains. I do love that tour.
Yeah, so this one's a lot like the Cascade Loop, except we trim off your trip to Augusta, and from Sims you head south to Bowman's Corner. That's a pretty drive as well.
This one's a good one if you're looking for a little bit shorter route or you don't have as much time, because this one's 138 miles in 2 hours and 15 minutes.
But we, on this loop, drive you down to the Gates of the Mountains.
Which you should stop and experience.
And the reason we call it the Lewis and Clark Loop is because there's a lot of Lewis and Clark history connected to the Gates of the Mountains. And so we plop you down there and then we bring you back up Craig, Cascade, Great Falls. And so you go to Sims, then you head south to Bowman's Corner to Wolf Creek. Again, really great option. A little bit more shorter time. So what I like, it's like you choose your own adventure. I don't know if they still make books like that, but you kind of pick, like, do you want A or B? Then you pick that and you go to that page and then you read the story. So like any way you do this, you can do it your own way.
And either you can reverse the direction too.
Yeah. Which you think, okay, I'm going to say it.
Yeah.
You would think it doesn't really matter what order you do it in. But let me tell you, if you do it one way and then you do it the other way, it's going to be a completely different experience. Because
and when along in the trip you're experiencing something too.
I liken it to the idea of if you have ice cream after dinner too soon and you haven't really been interested in ice cream.
Oh. So you're eating it, but you're not really liking it, and you feel sick after.
And so you have to really prepare yourself to experience what you might experience.
Okay.
Ice cream's good, but it might be better if you wait a while.
If you wait a little bit.
Or if you don't eat it right after your steak. You know, those type of ideas. Yeah. That's why we're giving you our perspective.
Yeah, I like that.
Certainly we're not experts. You can do it any way you want.
Right.
But we've done it, so maybe you could take our advice.
No, I think how you're saying is good. I think that's good advice.
On that Lewis and Clark Loop, I'd still head out west first, and then south, and then up. And again, frontage road. And yes, this one particularly, if you're going to do Gates of the Mountains, can only be done between May and September.
Yeah. And when we say Gates of the Mountains, this is a boat tour that's done on Holter Lake /
Missouri River.
Yes. I say / because you go through a canyon and there's a lot of history there, and you're going to learn about this on this boat tour. It's beautiful. You have Lewis and Clark history there, and then there's also very sad event that happened in that area with
the Man Gulch fire.
The Man Gulch fire. So, I mean, very sad event, but also there's a lot of firefighting technique and things that changed because of that circumstance. There's a book called Young Men of Fire about that if you wanted to read up ahead of time, but highly recommend doing that Gates of the Mountains tour and stay awake. It's a very relaxing ride. It's not boring is what we're saying.
Big, wide boat. The water is beautiful. The scenery is amazing. And the reason it's called Gates of the Mountains is when you get on that boat ride, it looks like you're going straight into the mountain.
Mm-hmm.
And then miraculously, you don't hit the mountain.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
It's a gateway. And yes, it's just very relaxed. I have not fallen asleep on it, which is actually kind of surprising because that seems like something I would do. But you have
so many times
because it's relaxing naps. To you. Yeah,
yeah, and it's someone else is in charge.
Right.
They talk about the flora, the fauna, the pictographs. It's just really a neat experience to enhance your Lewis and Clark journey.
Or if you need a little
nap,
shut eye. It's very relaxing. It
options there. There is a moment, I guess, on the boat tour.
I guess because you've been sleeping through it all.
I don't know if it's a new feature, if it's always been there, where you do get off the boat at one point.
Oh,
now
I don't think that was a thing last time I did it.
I could be making this up.
No, I believe you. It's been a while for me.
Do. Now, where they used to get off, I don't know if it's the same spot anymore because there was a really big water event that happened there within the last 10, 15 years that brought in a lot of rock and flooded some of the camp areas and like rest areas that are along that waterway. Like there were some vault toilets in there and a picnic shelter that was absolutely stunning. And then after this water event that happened, it was a big flood that occurred. It filled the picnic gazebo with rocks.
Wow.
So you could walk up to the roof of the picnic gazebo where you used to go and sit in it.
Okay.
Not on it.
Was this on the Helena side or the Great Falls side? Okay, that might be more way. Don't remember as much.
So, and you won't really know the difference today. Just know.
Yeah, it was there at one point.
It's a very interesting point.
Yeah.
Because we drove out there and saw it afterwards. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So a lot of kind of nature devastation that happens and adjusts things, but a lot of the good things still exist there. So Gates of the Mountains boat tour is the feature on that loop. And then we want you to come back and take in the Lewis and Clark Interpretive Center or do the Lewis and Clark Interpretive Center first. Really there's no good preference there. If you want to be more shocked, do the boat tour first and then show up at the Interpretive Center.
They're complementary experiences. Yeah.
You don't need one or the other first.
No.
You can just do it.
But both are helpful.
Yep. They're great.
The last one. Nope. Second to last one.
We got two more to cover.
We do have two more. And I think this one we don't necessarily have to spend as much time on because we've talked about this in with the Teton Loop, with our going to Glacier and also some when we've talked about dinosaurs.
Yes. This is very dinosaur heavy.
And birds.
Yep.
Yeah.
But this loop, the only thing I'm going to add, we did talk about it in the Glacier episode, but this particular loop heads you north to Conrad and then the cut across so that you can take in Pendroy and then come down through Bynum. That's the way I would do it.
Okay.
North
of Conrad,
west,
then west, south. Okay.
Because Pendroy's a neat looking town, and I do love the cut across the road from Conrad to Pendroy down into Bynum. And there's nothing really spectacular about it, but for me, it always feels like you're transported into like a Pennsylvania countryside.
Oh.
And I have really no idea why I feel that way.
Yeah.
But it's like there's a lot more farm spots and they're smaller in size. So we're so used to seeing these
Expansive. Yeah.
big lots of farms. So you got 20,000 acres for your farm. These are small, what I call Midwestern size farms. So you got like farm and then farm and then farm and then farm. So it's not just one big open plot of land.
Yeah.
And so it's really interesting. The landscape, you're in kind of the plains area, but there's a lot of trees. So again,
which is a little
you feel like you're on
plains.
a river valley with a lot of trees. It just feels weird to me out there. Like you're not even in Montana, and I don't know why.
I think Pendroy is one that I have not been into. I've been to all the other places on here, but yeah.
Conrad to Pendroy.
I've seen the sign to go to Pendroy, but yeah. And that reminded me, we should also mention, you'll see, we have, I don't really know if we talked about this much, but Hutterite colonies.
Oh, yes.
And so you might see one or see them out and about while you're on these drives as well. So they are, people often mistake them for Amish. They're not Amish, but that's what we're kind of the akin to that. So
that's what it'll feel like. They have a certain style
German.
of dress. The men wear black suits, suit coats and black pants. The women wear polka dotted scarves on their heads and
dresses.
Or just a black scarf on their head and then dresses with aprons. Usually more black in tone with stripes or flowers on them. So they're very subdued colors. But yeah, we may do an episode one time just about Hutterites.
I think that would be insightful.
Bring some of them in.
Yeah, I think that would be good. It's just something to keep in mind. I mean, you will see them, and I don't mean to like sound. You will see Hutterites in Great Falls shopping as well while you're here. But that's something. There are colonies or things like that around there. That's what they're called. They're
communal
colonies around,
and
that just made me think of that in a couple of these loops in particular.
Yep, and you will see quite a few on that Teton loop. Now, this one is full of food options. So don't, your fuel options are plentiful as well. So you don't ever have to worry about running out of fuel for your car or yourself.
Yeah. And this one's about 3 hours or 162 miles. And it goes by Freeze Out Lake as well. So if you're doing that loop in March, you can take in the birds, dinosaur routes all along that area. If you want to learn more about the dinosaurs, we have stuff on that, or go back to our Getting to Glacier episode just 2 episodes ago.
Yep.
As well. Yep.
There is a unique bar in Pendroy. I would say it is, and by bar, restaurant.
Community center.
I can't tell you if it's consistently open, because I know it's open sometimes for dinner, but I don't know if it's always open during the day.
It's one of those things that people who live there know and understand. But yeah.
And something you're just used to if you live in Montana. Like, oh, is it open? I don't know.
Call, maybe.
But there, you've got fuel in Shoto, Fairfield, Vaughn. Not in Power. But if you're...
Conrad.
Food and Power. Food in Dutton. Food in Brady.
I've never tried to get food in any of those. Conrad, I have.
I think
Conrad
I have
has a cute coffee shop.
Yep, I think I have eaten in every one of them.
Oh, nice.
Yes, I have. I have.
I used to go to a dentist in Conrad, so I was there often. I mean, not often, but to
get your teeth done.
That's right. Yeah, they have a folklore coffee there.
Oh,
I like that.
That's made
it's a cute shop
in Conrad.
Yeah.
Yep. Home of the Cowboys. Last scenic loop we're going to talk about is probably.
Is this your favorite?
This one could be my favorite. I do love this loop. And the reason, again, it has some gravel in it. So you're going to have to do the back roads.
That's the section I've never been on.
And the other thing about those kind of back roads on this one is it is a county road, but it feels like, for me, when I grew up, we used to take like just back roads into school. They weren't actual roads. They were just like access routes to get to fields. But it's a road system, if you will. Nobody's maintaining it.
Yeah.
If you meet someone, you likely know them, so you pull over and talk to them.
Yeah.
It's not designed to have two people on it at the same time. So
You'll figure it out.
that's what it feels like to me on the Mar Loop.
Okay.
That's
It
what we're
is an
calling.
established road, though.
It is an
Yeah.
established road. It is a county road, so it's maintained, but it certainly does not look like that.
Does not feel.
Like it feels like you're driving through someone's yard.
Okay.
Sometimes. Like there's no houses. Well, there is a spot where there's some houses, but it doesn't feel like it's an actual county road.
So
And that's what I love about it.
If you really want to feel like you're out in the middle of Montana, that's the road.
Yes.
Real quick, I wanted to address, we said Mar because we know how to say it, but it will look like meager to you.
Thank you.
It's Meagher. Mar, named for Thomas Mar, who was influential in Montana's history. So that's what that's named after, and it goes into Mar County as well.
So this one, I'm going to tell you the way I've done it. I wouldn't say there's a preference to that. Either on this option, it's just scenic the entire way. And so the way I've done it is to head out of Great Falls south to Ulm.
Okay.
And then you get off the interstate in Ulm.
Okay.
And then from Ulm, you take the 2-lane road heading towards Milligan. Not well traveled. You're going to drive right past Smith River State Park.
Okay.
And so that's the area where Smith River is. That's the state park. That's where you're going to head out towards. And then when you get to Milligan, you're going to take a gravel road basically all the way into White Sulphur Springs.
Yeah, it's quite a ways on a gravel road.
It is. And it is gorgeous.
So hold on, just because I haven't been this way. So when I get off in Ulm, am I taking a left and going on the frontage road, or am I taking a right towards the Buffalo Jump?
You're taking a left.
Okay.
And you're heading into town, I will say.
Yeah.
And then you're going to take another left and head out across the river.
Okay. Yep.
And head south that direction.
Okay.
So it is a gorgeous drive. You're going to cross the Missouri. You're going to be kind of in the rolling foothills in the valley. You're going to be in the mountains. You're going to be on backcountry road mountains. You're going to be heading through cattle pasture. That's part of what makes it really interesting.
Any, gates?
Cattle guards.
Cattle
you
guards,
do.
yeah.
Car gates or cattle guards, depending on who you're talking to. So you will go over those. The old town of Milligan, not much left of a town, but you can obviously see where it is. And there's like a pivot, and then you have to turn. It's like you drive into the town that doesn't exist anymore, and then you have to take another left. There's only one road.
Okay.
So it's not...
You're not going to get lost off of a road there. Okay.
And so then you drive that gravel road into Fort Logan, and you're going to be... I'm going to say it this way, but don't get scared. But if you do get scared, this road is not for you. It's kind of cliffy. So like you're going to be like on a mountain road where one side is mountain and the other side is drop off. Just kind of normal for that area, but it's not like you're going to die, like it's dangerous. Yeah. But if any kind of heights or adventure scare you,
pick a different loop.
Yep. Mar Loop is not your good option, and Cascade Loop is not your good option.
Yeah.
The rest, you're fine. And then from Milligan into Fort Logan. Fort Logan's an old military fort.
I was just going to ask, is there still remnants of it there, I would imagine?
There is still a fort there. I don't know if you can do tours or not.
Yeah, there's some of these places I've never been to.
And then as you're coming from Milligan into Fort Logan, the mountain closeness, like you're confined by the mountains, open up into like just imagine standing on top of a mountain peak and just looking down at the rest of the world. There comes that moment before you get into White Sulphur Springs. And then once you're in White Sulphur Springs, you've got food and brewery options. Beautiful little town
there. Yeah.
And then you're going to whip back around and head north on Kings Hill Scenic Byway, which is going to take you through Forest Green, which isn't much of a town. There's buildings there. There's last time we were through, the bar looked like it was open.
Oh, yeah.
We did not stop.
I've been this way a lot. I just can't even picture Forest Green. So if that helps you realize there's not really much there. Yeah.
It's the area in that drive where there's just a bunch of cabins all close together next to the road.
Okay.
And then there's this weird building that has a deck off of it. It's like a 2-story building. It's got a big patio that looks back out onto the road. That's the bar.
Okay.
We saw that it was open last time, but we didn't stop because we weren't sure if it was
actually open,
a bar or someone's house.
Oh.
Because that happens.
Yeah.
There's a spot between White Sulphur Springs and Forest Green where there's one cabin like right next to the road, which looks so odd. And there's no grass. Well, that used to be a bar. And so it's now
it makes more sense with that context. Yeah.
And so there will be things like that you see along the way. But the drive from White Sulphur Springs back to Great Falls, Kings Hill Scenic Byway, you're going to see some really kind of rugged high plains stuff. And what that means to us is almost like desert mountain range. And so you're not going to see a lot of trees. You're going to see a lot of kind of shrubbery and brushes, but you're in the mountains. And then you'll drive past Showdown. You'll go through Nyhart. You'll have the opportunity to hike Memorial Falls on this route. Monarch has bar restaurant as well as Nyhart. And then just between Monarch and Belt, you've got Sluice Boxes State Park, another great hiking or scenic viewing option. And then you're back into Belt, which we've talked about. And then from Belt into Great Falls using Highway 200. That could be my most favorite loop.
It's a good one. And especially in the fall, Belt, Sluice Boxes, Monarch, Nyhart, that's going to be where you're going to see some really beautiful colors.
Probably your most... probably your most foliage option is your Mar Loop.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing. There's no option on Mar Loop on this scenic drive that you can do that isn't gravel. So there's not like a choose your own adventure and stay safer.
You could go, you could do an out and back to White Sulphur through
you could.
Kings Hill, but
Or if we wanted to, we would give you some other options to head to White Sulphur Springs and then head east again and back around. But most of the time, it's not as conducive and it's a longer drive.
Yeah. Yeah, that one's really pretty. And again, if you need to stretch your legs, Memorial Falls is a perfect place to do that because it's beautiful and it's not super long.
So
it's
quick.
You can think it's 800, like half, even maybe quarter of a mile up to the falls.
Yeah.
So it's a great place to stretch your legs.
The Mar Loop is the longest drive.
Yeah.
Both in time and distance.
Distance by 1 mile.
Yeah. 202 miles.
Yeah.
So you've got 3 loops that are around that 200 mile mark. This one's going to take at least, it says 4 hours, 10 minutes. I'd plan at least 4.5 hours.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of options to stop along the way. So you're going to have some stops like at Memorial, and I would recommend White Sulphur Springs.
But especially if you go to Ulm first that way, there's not really anywhere.
Gas station in Ulm, gas station in White Sulphur Springs. I would not recommend getting fuel in Monarch and Nyhart.
No.
But there's options
Emergency.
there. If things get bad, you've got fuel there. And then there is fuel and food and Belt, and then you're back to Great Falls. One of the things I would denote on the White Sulphur Springs option is great restaurants there. But if you're wanting to do a picnic, because I'm big into I want to be out.
Yeah, doing stuff.
Smith River Landing in White Sulphur Springs is like a little weird grocery store area.
Okay.
It's mostly a grocery store. And it's on the east end of the town. They have this great deli case where they make sandwiches that you can grab and go sandwiches. We did
that'd
that.
Be perfect.
It was really nice.
Yeah.
The good food.
Because then you can, if you're not crazy hungry yet, you just continue on and stop
keep going.
Memorial Falls or something and eat it. So Yeah.
So this one also I'm going to say is probably your scenic overload. You're not going to get a break. You are not going to get a break from scenery. Like,
so maybe trade off driving or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you'll have a full sensory experience on this one. There's never a time where you're like, oh, I'm welcoming this sensory break. Nope. Doesn't happen on that loop.
Nope.
But gravel.
You're right.
Gravel.
A lot of gravel.
And there's a few spots along that road on that gravel part where there's just a random cabin right off to the right of the road. Like
Maybe it feels like you're in their driveway.
Maybe 6 feet off the road.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's like
That's
an
kind of
old homesteader cabin or like an old fur trapper's cabin.
Yeah.
And the road just ends up going by it.
Like, oh,
Don't
sorry.
go
Driving through
explore
your
it.
front. Yeah.
Don't go explore it. Oh,
No.
don't do that. Don't get off the road and jump into those buildings.
No.
We've told you where you could get off the road
Yeah.
at. Memorial Falls.
Not random
Yeah.
cabins.
Because that's private property on either side of the road.
Yeah.
And there's a sign that does say you're entering private property area. The road is still fine to take. But on either side of that road is private property. So respect that. Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll leave it at that.
Okay. So which road are you going to take first?
Well, I am curious about Milligan just because that's an area I've never explored. But I might have to go out towards Gibson Reservoir first, especially this time of year. You don't like my
No.
you don't like my
I like
choice.
I like both your options.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say, again, the biggest disclaimer on Marloop, it is not as nice as the gravel road out to Gibson on the Cascade Loop.
Okay.
So you're going to really need to make sure you have a vehicle that can take the rugged terrain.
And if it's like rained a ton or something,
Let's wait till it dries up a little. Or be really skilled in your adventuring.
Yeah. And really have the right vehicle and tires for that. Other thing I was going to mention as we're talking about the fall, and I don't have the specific dates off the top of my head, but just be aware hunting season is open this time of year. So that's, again, another reason why just stay on the road.
And the other thing about that is when you're driving these scenic routes, you may just see a pickup pulled off the side of the road and nobody in there, and that's fine. The other big thing, especially during this time of the year, on some of these routes, any time of the year, not a lot of traffic. So if you really need to be a little bit more comfortable in your adventuring and you want to make sure people are going to drive by you, some of these routes aren't for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's where probably Lewis and Clark Loop, you'll see quite a few people
pulled off.
And Cascade Loop.
Yep. And that Mar Loop, if you decide to do it, is probably going to be full of hunters.
Yeah.
But
just something to be aware of for the fall when you're driving.
And the other big thing on that, thanks for bringing that up, is if you happen upon bow hunters, they're not going to have any orange on. They're going to blend in really well. They're going to be in full camo because that's what's allowed during bow season. If it's a little bit later in the year, then you're going to have rifle hunters, and they will have the orange on. So you can spot them. You're not going to spot a lot of the bow hunters because of the regulations that exist here. So,
and that's starting.
It started.
Yeah. And then rifle season ends the weekend after Thanksgiving, correct? Okay.
Thanksgiving weekend.
Okay. Look, I know a few things.
Look at all the stuff you know.
Pulling it out.
And so,
crevices.
Folks, that is our take on the scenic drives in this area. Now, as we go out and explore more, we'll have
more options.
Yeah. But, for right now, we're working. That's why you have a podcast to listen to. And we're not out exploring the roads. But when we do, and we've got more routes for you, we'll add them and then we'll talk about them. And if you have any questions, like you really want to tell us your deep-seated issues and then see what scenic route's best for you.
Carol's here.
Carol's your gal. 406-761-4436. You want to email us, you can. Information at visitgreatfalls.org. You want to go to our website, you can do that too. We make everything accessible to you.
Try to make it real easy for you.
And if you want to stop in at 15 Overlook Drive before you go out on these scenic drives so that we can visibly inspect you to see if you're capable of doing some of these, feel free to do that. We'd be happy to give you our opinions because we give them
Rebecca,
all the time.
She likes that.
Yeah, I'm a little bit of a judgmental person, so I will give you the once up and once down and go, no, maybe this route's not for you.
Which is helpful information.
Because I'll look at your vehicle, I'll say, nope, you're not doing this. So, and if I have any inkling, I'm not going to put you in harm's way.
We're here to keep you safe. We want you to enjoy this experience.
Like, we cannot caveat Mar Loop enough. That's the biggest adventure loop there is. It might be scary to a lot of people.
Yes, it just depends. You know yourself, people. Yeah. Decide if that's what you want.
But we got all the options here, so we had to give them to you. We're good for the novice. We're good for the expert.
People sometimes come to Montana because they want the adventure. They want the out west experience.
They want to make sure that they know that when they leave, they've tempted death. I guess.
There you go. We got everything for you.
We're not going to tell you how to vacation. We're just going to give you the options to do what you want to do.
That's right. Make an informed decision.
So, folks, until we see your bright, smiling, happy, healthy, beautiful, wonderful faces in our fine city, we do hope that you're being safe and creating amazing memories with your friends and family wherever you might be. We'll see you soon.
We're No Dam Experts is the recorded claims from Great Falls, Montana, covering what you need to know about this amazing damn town. Damn, that felt good.